Hello and welcome. I hope that you're all doing well. In this video, we are going to take a look at selects and filters to get a better idea of how we can get data from our database, as well as filter the data when it is retrieved from the database itself. So let's take a look at how that can be done. I'll go over to our PHP MyAdmin, and I'm going to go into the shop database that we created and products, and let's go ahead and click on SQL. And you can actually see that there's a query that's given to us by default, and this is called a select query. And what this select query does is it gets data from the database. So this is the main way that we get data. So I'm going to get rid of this where1 for now and just focus on this portion here. And I'll even remove these backticks and just leave it like this. So this statement reads select star from products. Let me run this and show you what the result is. You can see that when we run this query, we get all of the data that is inside of our database. So understanding now, let's discuss what this query really does. So it's selecting data from the products database. So it's getting data from products. Now what this star means is it means get every single column. So this would indicate that we're going to get every single column from the products database. And by default, it's going to get every single row because we're not filtering. So we're not changing what's being returned back. We're just saying, get me everything from products. That's what this query is saying. Now we can specify specific columns. Like I could say, get me the product ID and product name, for instance. What this will do is it will get you all of the product IDs and all of the product names from the products table. And let me show you that. As you can see, you get the product IDs and the product names. So it gets you all of those records from the table. So this is the general way that a select works. So it's a very straightforward query. We just tell it either to get all of the columns using a star, or we say that we want to get specific columns from the table, and that will give us just those values. So now I'm going to change this back to select star, and we're going to talk a little bit about the idea of filtering. So when we do select star from products, right, it gives us all of the records. Now, maybe I only just want to get one of the records. Maybe I just want to get the record with the product ID equal to 1. If I wanted to do this, I can use what's called a where clause. So I could say where, and then I can put some sort of condition in. And what will happen is it will select all of the records that meet the condition that I specify. So for instance, if I want to get all the records with a product ID of 1, I can say where product ID equals 1. Remember to put the quotations around 1 because 1 is text, right? So we want it to interpret it as text rather than as a number. And this is going to get all the values where the product ID equals 1. So let's press go. And as you can see, now I only get the things with the product ID equal to 1. So this is a way that we can do what's called filtering data. We can get records that match just a specific condition. And this condition can be anything that can be true or false. So it could be any Boolean operator. So what I mean by that is that we can use conditions like I could say where the price is greater than 100, right? This is something that could be either true or false. Either the price is greater than 100 or it's not greater than 100. This is a way that we can filter based on the numeric data as well, right? So you could see in this case, I get everything greater than 100. If I want to demonstrate this, I can also say greater than 300 so that it filters out at least one of the records, right? So if I say greater than 300, you can see it only gives me the things with the price bigger than 300, which is this one here with the price of 500. Now I could further say, give me the price less than 300. And that of course would give me everything less than 100 or 300 rather. So in this case, the 250 value. So you could see how this could generally be used. And we could use it with any of these different operations. Just to show you some different ones, we have equals. Of course, we have greater than or less than. We have greater than or equal to. We have less than or equal to. And then we have does not equal. So does not equal will just give me all the values that don't equal 300. And as you can see, that gives me all the records inside of my table here. So with these queries, we're able to filter our selects based on some sort of condition that's either true or false, right? Now we can combine these conditions together or using things like and, or, as well as negations with not. So for instance, if I want to get everything with a product ID equal to 1 and a product name equal to desktop computer, what I could do is I could say product ID equals 1 and product underscore name equals desktop computer. right? So if I do this, then it will filter based on both of the conditions rather than just one of them. So the product ID has to be 1 and the product name has to be desktop computer. Now I can also say just one of the conditions has to be true. So either the product ID equals 1 or the product name equals desktop computer. That's a way that I could check that at least one of the conditions is true rather than both of them having to be true. So these are the ways that we can combine these statements together to create something that, again, is either true or false, but also is going to meet specific conditions like this, right? So this gives you some of the basic ideas of what we can do with selects and where clauses. So we can select data and then we can filter data as well to get only specific values. Now, there are a lot of different filters that we could apply. I'm only showing you some very basic ones. So there's a lot more that you can discover here, but this gives you the general idea of being able to select data from tables as well as filter the data based on conditions. So that's everything that I wanted to talk about in this video. In the next video, I'm going to discuss a little bit about the idea of key relationships in SQL, and then we'll take a look at joining data based on that. So thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.